Good morning, everyone. My name is Ruben Russell and my student number is 2096919. I have a question for you all. Who knows where money comes from? To give you an answer to this question, I will first have to give you a brief history of money. Furthermore, I will tell you how money is made nowadays, and lastly I'll give you my conclusion. The history of money. Long ago, people decided to trade things they had for things they wanted. However, this caused a lot of problems. As a solution, they decided to use metal coins of equal value, such as silver and gold. Unfortunately, the people didn't feel safe walking around with these coins. Whereas somebody proposed to guard it for a small fee. In return, the person received a note with the amount they deposited written on it. This note is also known as an IOU note. These safekeepers were also known as banks. However, this system had a few problems. Let me explain why. The bankers realized that the people weren't always coming back to retrieve their gold. They were using the IOU notes to pay. Knowing this, the banks then used their gold and lent it out to other people with interest on it. So the banks were creating profit out of other people's gold. Unfortunately, this is still happening today. For an example, I will use the US monetary system, since the US dollar is the most used currency in the world. I will do this in the following steps. Let's say the US government borrows money at the Treasury. The Treasury then receives this money by creating a bond, selling this bond to international national banks, and then the banks use this bond and sell it to the Federal Reserve, whereas this Federal Reserve swaps the bond for a check. Once the bank receives this check, currency magically springs into existence. With this currency, the banks then buy new bonds at the Treasury. Thus the cycle continues. When this happens over and over again, this enriches the banks and indebts us, the population. This currency is then funneled back into the banks, since workers deposit their pay into banks. However, due to fractional reserve lending, this currency supply, there will be an overexpansion of the currency supply. But the funny thing is, the Federal Reserve, according to the Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve doesn't need to have anything on their account to write these checks. The important thing to note is that there is interest due on the bonds and all of the loans that the banks have made to people. What this means is there is interest due on every dollar in existence. Since there is interest due on every dollar in existence, there will never be enough currency to pay off all the debt, unless the people or the government decide not to borrow money anymore. Then there will be a deflationary collapse. To conclude, this system adopted by America and the rest of the world is fundamentally flawed and bound to fail if lending money is not left out of the equation. Thank you for your attention.